Chronologically, this game takes place between episode 6 and episode 7. This game is entirely first person, unlike Starfighter Assault and Battlefront 2, which also allows for you to have a lot more control over your ship, because there isn't like a bunch of displays all over the place on your screen there, and I just like it better in first person anyway. I really like the customization in this game. Each thing you added had different benefits and trade-offs. Each ship is the X-Wing for the fighter, Y-Wing for the bomber, A-Wing as the interceptor, and the U-Wing as the support for the New Republic. For the Empire, if it would load, well, it's better than GTA Online loading times for sure. You have the TIE Fighter, TIE Bomber, TIE Interceptor, and TIE Reaper. All of those except for the Reaper, which is the support, are pretty self-explanatory. You have very good customization. You have different weapons that have different things, such as lasers and ion. You have two auxiliaries, or components or whatever, which are things like heavy ordnance, mines, torpedoes, repairs, and stuff that doesn't qualify as other things. You have countermeasures, armor, or hull. Something annoying though about the customization is that you don't have everything from the start, which makes sense for some items, but not all. You all have to use requisitions, which you get from ranking up. You have shields, which are easy to repair, and engines, which give you your boost and your speed. In multiplayer, you have 3 different game modes. You have Dogfight, where you fight enemy players and starfighters, Fleet Battles, and Fleet Battles AI, which is basically the same thing. You have 2 teams of 5 trying to destroy the other team's capital ship, similar to Capital Supremacy in Battlefront 2. But in Dogfight, the goal is to destroy the enemy fighters before they destroy yours. The first team to reach 30 kills wins. I'd recommend personally using interceptors and maybe fighters for this, though you might want to have one support on your team like I am, because you can't just return to your capital ship to resupply. You have to pick up the pickups around the map, or resupply, or get a resupply from a U-Wing. And the U-Wing and the TIE Reaper are both pretty durable as well, and I've killed a few enemies with them. In fleet battles, you have 2 teams of 5 players and an enemy fleet of capital ships. The goal is to defend your team's capital ships and destroy the enemy team's capital ship. The goal, in our case as the Imperial side, is to take out the Rebels' MC-75 cruiser and defend our Star Destroyer. Probably the most important aspect of fleet battles is the morale bar at the very top of the screen, just below the timer. Morale is what depends on whether you get to attack or whether the enemy gets to attack. When your morale is high, you can attack. When the enemy's is high, they can attack. After you get enough morale on your side, you can then attack the enemy's escort capital ships. In this case, it's the New Republic's Nebulon Bs, while they're trying to take down our Arquitens light cruisers. After the 2 escort capital ships are destroyed, you can then move on the MC-75 or Star Destroyer flagship. With flagships, there are several different subsystems. You can select to target them with the targeting menu. The first weak spot is the targeting system, which affects the accuracy and fire rate of the weapons on the capital ship. On the Mon Calamari cruiser, it's this large tower on the top of the ship. The targeting system on the ISD is this section of the hull just below the bridge superstructure near the center of the ship. Another flagship subsystem is the shield generators. There's two on both the Imperial Star Destroyer and the Mon Calamari cruiser. On the MC-75, it's these two gill-shaped sections of the hull. There's one on each side. And for the Star Destroyer, these shield generators are these two large bulb-shaped things on top of the bridge of the Star Destroyer, not Super Star Destroyer. The power system on the ISD is this large dome on the bottom of the Star Destroyer. The final weak spot on the ship is the power system, which is right here on the tower at the bottom of the Mon Calamari cruiser. The power system, when destroyed, reveals weak spots that can be destroyed to cause a large amount of damage. Weak spots are these blue cracks on the ship's hull. They appear when you cause damage to the ship's hull or destroy the power system. They cause significant damage when they're destroyed. I just caused almost 10% damage to the ship because of that. When your ship gets damaged or you need to resupply munitions and there isn't a support ship around, you can return to your capital ship and just hover beneath it in the circle right here to resupply. You can also repair your ship and resupply munitions by returning to your flagship. Though, unlike when you go to a regular capital ship, the flagship will repair it instantly. And you can also, when you go into the hangar, it will allow you to switch to different starfighters and different loadouts. Once you take out the two escort capital ships, you can move on the flagship. After the flagship is destroyed, you win the game. Warning, this is your first and last warning about the spoilers for the campaign. If you hear something you don't want to hear and you get spoiled, it's not my fault. It's yours for not listening to this warning. The in-game story takes place after the Battle of Endor in Star Wars Episode 6 and before the Battle of Jakku about 1 year later. Something I really liked about the Star Wars Squadrons campaign is that it showed the ideologies of both sides of the war, and you played as both sides of the war as well. It was really enjoyable. It's great for anyone who is a fan of the Star Wars expanded lore. The story is centered around the rivalry between Captain Lyndon James, who defected from the Empire after the destruction of Alderaan, and Teresa Carroll, who later became a captain during the main events of the game, who used to be Lyndon James' protege, but he defected and she hates him for that. I personally loved all the missions, but I'll tell you some of my favorites. One of my favorites is when you bomb a Imperial listening post in the sixth mission of the game. This doesn't include the prologue. My favorite part is at the end of the mission where you fly inside the station, and destroy it from the inside by hitting the reactor, similar to what Anakin did in Episode 1, and how you destroyed the droid control ship on the Ryloth map in Battlefront 2 multiplayer. A mission I also enjoyed was mission 6, where you have to travel through the Xavian Abyss, and while Carol Star Destroyer is hunting you. This mission, well, the setting reminds me a lot of the Maw and the Maelstrom from Star Wars story. There's even a destroyed Venator Star Destroyer from the Clone Wars in here, adding an extra level of detail. A nice campaign detail is that there are optional objectives which give you medals which you unlock by completing optional objectives in the game. My favorite mission by far was one of the last missions in the game. When you're trying to prevent the Starhawk from escaping, and you create a minefield using cores in a reactor cores in a debris field that was salvaged to make the Starhawk. Considering this game was made by EA, I think that was an incredibly creative decision, because they could have just made it so it's like a generic minefield, but they actually decided to use something interesting. And the mission was also really fun, except for when you can get destroyed by the fighters. Something I enjoy about the campaign is that at the start of each mission, except for the prologue, there's a detailed mission briefing. That tells you exactly what the objectives of the mission are, and gets you some general idea of what you're doing. It's not like the boring, generic list of details at the top of your screen or in the corner of your screen like in most other games. I really enjoyed the level of detail they added to this game. A nice detail is that you can ask or talk to various characters in the campaign when you're on your ship by just looking at them and hitting A, which give you a lot of background information and expanded information from other material.
I spent a lot of time around Imperials, playing the dumb alien, a bartender, a sweeper, someone safe. Next day, the rebellion would know everything I'd overheard. It wasn't easy.
Another detail I liked is that the graphics are amazing, as well as the music, but I can't show you any of the music though for copyright reasons. F you, YouTube, for that. Something that really pissed me off about this game is the mother effing weapons that literally auto-aim onto an enemy ship. See, I just got blown up. I especially hate the pulse cannons on the A-Wing Interceptor. The worst thing in Star Wars Squadrons has to be the final mission in the campaign, Fire at Heart. The story is good, but the gameplay is what sucks. The first part is not too bad. You destroy a Star Destroyer, which can be kind of fun, though it's pretty annoying how you're constantly getting locked onto by missiles. And you're getting just destroyed so easily. As well as the tractor beam is pretty damn annoying in this mission because it can lock onto you from a much farther distance. The second part of the mission is what sucks though. I cannot stand this part. You basically have to escort two CR-90 Corvettes as they tow the Starhawk into the moon. What's really annoying though is because they're being targeted by bombers, and they spawn in two different locations, and there's so many other ships as well, and the TIE Reapers, which there's a lot of in this mission, can use tactical shields as well. And the bombers spawn pretty close to the Corvette, so you don't have much time to shoot them down. You're gonna fail a bunch of this mission a bunch. The only way I thought of to beat this mission is to just spam tactical shields in a U-wing.
We've lost both corvettes. This plan is shot. Mission abort.
The third part of the mission isn't too bad, but it can be a bit annoying. I couldn't get any footage of it though because I failed this mission so many effing times on the second part. I just did not feel like doing the third part. I just decided to quit. The third part isn't that bad. I've done it once before. You basically have to escort what's left of the Starhawk as it reaches so it kamikazes the planet basically, though this mission isn't too bad because the last part because the Starhawk has plenty of health. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry this video took so long to make and the video is pretty long itself. I'm planning on making a GTA video tomorrow if I have time, but I probably will. If you enjoy my video, please like the video, and if you enjoy my content, subscribe. And as always, see you in the next one.
And take out every damn Imperial ship in range.
Then count me in. Let's finish this together.